All right, everyone. It's me, Nelly, back here for BMU episode 2. Honestly, man, it feels crazy. It's been a while since I uploaded episode 1, but back here with my guy Woody, who came for episode 2.
Hey guys, my name is Woody. I'm gonna be. I guess am I a guest or a co-host? Like, what do you consider me as?
I'll probably say more guests because I'll have multiple people.
I get it. So, yeah, I'm the. That is true. I don't know why. I'm sorry for taking that position. Yeah, my name is Woody. I'm Nelly's guest for today, and he's gonna talk to you guys about the topic he has for this episode.
Yeah, which is the misconception that God is a genie. Or at least that's what a lot of people usually would treat him as. At least how I feel and how we feel, because this is something that we discussed like probably for a long time, probably years ago, that people may have about God being a genie. And yeah, there's a lot of questions that we have. Well, at least we're gonna try our best to get into them. But obviously some discussions and things we want to get into with this. But to get us in, I guess I'll pray us in, and then we'll officially get into this whole thing. So, thank you, Jesus, for this time. Thank you that Woody and I are here, and it's a blessing, man, that we're able to be here. We're able to have this whole conversation about you being a genie, or at least the misconception of it. So I pray that not just for us two, but I pray that whoever's listening, whoever gets to listen to this in the future, I pray that it'll be a blessing to them. I pray that they really get to understand you more and just have a more genuine bond, genuine relationship with you, instead of like just coming before you just to consume things. So I really pray that this topic and the discussion that Woody and I are going to have, I pray that it has a really big effect, not just on us two, but as I said, on everybody who watches this in the future. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. So obviously, of course, with this whole BMU, obviously the first part in the B biblical. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about this topic in a biblical sense, because like one thing I was thinking about is like, what does the Bible say about like prayer and stuff? So one thing that we got to mention is got to discuss what prayer is, because I think a lot of people kind of have like this, man, this is kind of crazy, but they have this misconception about prayer, like, oh, should I just kind of just roll on my knees and just, no, like some people would.
I get what you mean. I just didn't expect you to go like.
Some people would really just have that, I guess, mentality of their way of praying. So, like prayer, honestly, you could pray anywhere. I'm gonna be real with you guys. That's pretty much, you could pray anywhere. Like you could pray while walking, you could pray while sitting, while standing. Even just me, I was just praying, while I was sitting down. So
pray while driving as well.
yeah, while driving. So there's many ways, honestly, to pray, and pretty much prayer is just speaking with God. Having a conversation with Him. And one thing I want to mention with this whole genie aspect, remember, conversation is a dialogue, not a monologue.
Mm-hmm.
Like people think of it as a monologue as far as prayer, as far as like, they say what they need to say, they give their proposition to God, but then they don't really take time to listen to what God has to say for them.
Now I have a question. So I'm not trying to dive right into it. I'm really not. But there's the first person that can like. There's a streamer. The other person that comes to mind is like a very famous person. You know Phantom, right?
Phantom?
Phantom, yes.
I don't think I do though. I feel like I've heard of his name though.
No, he's a streamer. There's not. I'm just using him as an example. There's other people that do this, but there was something that he said a while ago, and he said that when he oh my gosh, when he became successful, he was like he prayed to God about this, all this type of stuff. Now I don't know Phantom's relationship with God. I'm not judging him at all. I think it's a fantastic when you pray to God. For sure. You talk about a monologue, and there was something that he said, and he said that he constantly prayed about just being successful, and that is fine. That is fine. Okay. So now my question to you is, based on this misconception, because when people pray to God as a genie, and then I would say God grants their wish when they get older. What do you think about that? because obviously God's not a genie. God is way greater than just fulfilling our desires. Yeah. In the Bible, it says not to follow our desires because our hearts are deceitful. Yeah. But I guess, what do you think about when people pray for their success and they get it? I'm not trying to be a hater at all, but they get it, but they're not having a true relationship with God, just a monologue in their prayer life.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I personally feel like praying for success is it could be a good thing, obviously, and of course, like reasoning and all that stuff goes to mind. And yeah, as you said, like in this case, there's times where people may pray for success. God grants their wishes in a sense, and they get it. And obviously, like sometimes in their case, they may not even like have a relationship with God or anything like that. But I think in response to that, I think God would probably do something like that just to show like how much he cares for them, like how much he loves them and just how much he exists, because some people may not even believe that he exists. But I think that will give them a sign that he exists, just the fact that he's willing to give them that. Because I've seen like a lot of like videos about like atheists and just like former Satanists and things like that. They got their prayers answered. So it's like, you think of this like, yo, God, like, why did you grant them this? Like they haven't really dove into, how do I say it? They haven't really spent as much time with you as someone else may be. But like you grant their wish or you answer their prayer. Yeah, I think it's really just like God really like cares for them, like he loves them. So I guess they really also to like try to prove a point in a sense that he's that guy. You know.
I feel, but I see that, but I feel like it gets like misconstrued sometimes, like it gets twisted, because now it's like God's granted these people these success. Like every good thing comes from God, but then when there's too much of a good thing, like it plummets down. And like a question, not a question, but what I want to add from that is like there's times like I'm gonna use an example. The Meek Mill song. Like I used to pray for times like this, like this. Yeah. It's like like. Okay, let's take that lyric for example. I used to pray for times like this. Meek Mill's really successful. That song is known, of course, everywhere. Yeah. But then the lyrics of the song just aren't, the best. So it's like a lot of times when people like they obviously people respect God. Most people, some people respect God, not everybody. Yeah. But there's people that respect God and they pray to obviously get out of their situation. That is fine. That is completely. I'm not trying to like knock anybody down for trying to pray out of the situation. Pray and pray that God delivers you from any situation, whether that be poverty, financial hardships, depression, anxiety, lust, whatever it may be. Obviously, pray for deliverance. But what I wanted to say is that a lot of times, like for the example, I used to pray for times like this. They're bringing God into the mix, and then their success doesn't reflect anything about God. Like that doesn't even have to be like Christian, but it's like the secular or worldly type of music or type of content that people make. Yeah. Another example, no hate at all. I love Lil Wayne. I'm going to talk about Lil Wayne real quick. Lil Wayne, there's this song. What's the song called? I forgot what the title was, but it's about a song like it's gonna all work out. And Lil Wayne's talking about like his life and how he almost killed himself, and then he shot himself. I think he shot himself, and then someone saved him. And then he was saying in the song like God had a plan for him. God helped him. God healed him or saved him. And then and then Lil Wayne isn't using that platform for God, despite him acknowledging or saying or admitting that God healed him or saved him. Like there's literally a song, and I love Lil Wayne. Like I gotta stop listening to this song. I love this song. But it's with him in Future. And it's like I'm on that good cushion alcohol. That song, bro, I'm not gonna lie. That song is like I used to love that song. My uncle played it all the time when I was younger. It's such a good song. Such a classic song. I'm not gonna say good, to be honest. But in that song, Lil Wayne said, "These girls love me like Satan," and it's just like the music video. Not the best video. I only watched it once because I was like, "Dang, this is kind of vulgar," Yeah. But it's like people have this great success and God grants it. It's amazing. They have this great success. I'm not hating on the success. I don't envy the success. Whatever God gives me, God gives me. Whatever God doesn't give me, that is fine. But there's people that God grants this success. And like you said, God cares for them. but then they just turn to the opposite direction where it's just like, okay, I have this, and I know all the time people may not glorify God, which sucks. It sucks. That's the world we live in, where people are not going to glorify God, but they glorify the complete opposite of the gift that they know God gave them. And that's just the part where I'm just trying to get to. It's like, it's not, I don't know where I'm getting at, but I wanted to mention that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point though, because like obviously these people are very successful in a sense, especially like in the worldly concept of success. Definitely up there, the upper echelon. So like, yeah. But like I think as far as like success though, I feel like for them, I think obviously God would give, as we mentioned with
Come on, you got it. You got it.
yeah, with free will, and I think it's like a free will type thing because like God will give, of course, like as we mentioned, like God gave like the people he mentioned, Meek Mill and Lil Wayne. He meant like as you mentioned those people, I think what they do with that thing, like what they gave them, because like I forgot the Bible verse. It was like to whom much is given, much is required. And that was with the I think with the parable and the with the guys that had like 10 talents, 5 talents, 1 talent. So I would definitely recommend checking that out for you guys if you guys never looked at it before. Really good chapter. But I guess to really dive into that, I think that is like an aspect with the success. Like I think the free will aspect is very important. Like they have the choice to glorify. I'm not saying it's a good choice, but they have the choice like to turn away from God, even like after singing that He delivered them and stuff. And yeah, I just think I feel like the way we define success can be a little tricky because God may see it like in a different way. Like obviously God's more concerned with the spiritual aspect than the physicals. So yeah, I think that's another important thing to mention with success.
So then, how would you define success?
That's a good question. Me personally, I would say like I would probably define it as just being, I guess, being filled with a sense of contentment and just being satisfied to an extent. But I think just being filled, content, being blessed like physically, but also blessed spiritually. Like you may have the money and the things like that, but you also have like peace, you also have joy and stuff like that. So I would say it's like a mix of the physical blessings and the spiritual blessings. And like how big are the physical blessings, that kind of depends. But I think no matter the size, just having that sense of gratification and stuff, like I think that's how I would probably define it. Just physical and spiritual, but they're both compatible and you just feel great about it. So yeah.
Okay, that reminded me of like a verse. I don't remember the verse. I'm not gonna lie. It really does suck. I don't remember verses that well. I don't know. It's in the New Testament for sure. I think Paul wrote this. Maybe Paul wrote this. Don't know. But it was a good verse. I can't look it up because we're using our phone. My phone.
Yeah.
But the verse, I forgot what the second was. The second one was, but it says contentment. I think with wisdom is a great gain. And like you said, like when it comes to success, you see it as like not only like physical success, but also spiritual like contentment, like a spiritual contentment, like in the blessings that God has given you, just in like the wisdom that God's given you. Like the fear of God is like Jesus. This is a Bible verse. I'm trying to remember it.
The beginning of knowledge?
The beginning of the beginning. Wait, no. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Oh wait, yeah, beginning of knowledge, beginning of wisdom. And what am I talking going on about? Bro, this happens. Okay, wait, hold on.
No,
what am I talking about?
You were talking about like you were talking about success in a sense.
Yeah, success. Okay. Yeah. So like contentment with wisdom. I think it's with wisdom is great gain. And the reason I tried to tie that with success is because there was a question I had before I even asked you what do you think success is. There was a question I was thinking to myself, and it was if God knows that the people He's going to give this success or this physical success. I don't want to say true success because, like you said, true success is when you're with God, with the Father, and you have a relationship with Him. all the worldly stuff is gonna perish one day. It's gonna be gone.
Yeah.
So obviously, just worldly success is not enough. There's obviously spiritual success. There's spiritual blessings. So my question was, why does God give all these people that won't glorify Him these blessings, but you can tell like in a Christian, like or okay in myself, like I know in myself that God won't get, and I'm not envying it at all, but like I know for myself, I know that God will not give me that same blessing of like not physical, of status to be known by all these people.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Me myself, not talking about you. Me myself.
Yeah.
But
I get you.
Mm-hmm. So my question was, why is God giving? And I obviously because He loves them, but why doesn't He? I guess would say, raise His platform or raise His people in a public space for them to, I guess, share their blessings with other people in the correct way or the godly way, rather than promoting secularness and like worldly things.
Okay. That's a good question. Like, that's a good question. I think God has definitely like started to, at least from my point of view, I feel like God has been elevating some of His followers in a higher level. I'm trying to think of names. Like for example, you heard about this is a while back. We heard about like how Kel Mitchell accepted Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like um he actually I was thinking about him for example, like how obviously those out there, Keenan and Kel was very iconic in the 90s and
It's a 90s show?
I think so. I think it was a 90s show. But yeah, it was very iconic though. Like a lot of people just knew it. And not just knew it, but enjoyed it, enjoyed watching it and stuff. And
Wasn't it a 2000 show?
not I think it was I think it ended in 2000 or something like that, but I think it started like
I'm not old enough anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not I think my brother would probably know more about that. But yeah, that show was like very popular and then I just uh hearing Kel's testimony, hearing his testimony about like how he accepted Christ and how he came to Christ. And honestly, you guys gotta check it out. Like search up Kel Mitchell's testimony because it's gonna be too much for me to dive into. I can't fully dive into all that. But listening to his testimony and stuff like that, someone with a big platform like him, and he accepted Christ. And he's like going. Obviously, I pray for him. I pray that he's still going deep in his faith. But just him, for example, and obviously there's more. Like you remember like Nala Ray, the popular OF, the OF star.
That's the thing about you. I'm joking. No, I do not know who that is. I do not know who that is.
Oh, okay.
Please use a different example. Use a different example, please. I don't know why. That's the second person that came to mind.
No, I haven't watched. I don't even watch OF. I don't watch OF.
All right, man.
Like,
pick another person.
But
anybody else. I'll pick another person. The Undertaker.
Oh, the Undertaker.
He turned to Christ. I remember his whole gimmick coming back from hell to grab and take people. Now he's taking people. He's taking souls up to heaven. I don't know his real name, but the Undertaker I remember I saw a while ago. He turned to Christ. You could have used an example like that.
No, I didn't even know he did. I didn't know he did.
Okay,
but I'm thinking there's another guy though. Well, he used to be Boot Gang.
Boot Gang. Okay.
But now he goes as John Cabana. I'm pretty sure.
There's something really cool about Boot Gang. Like that. There's something I really like about him. Like he has all the face tattoos, and I remember he got a lot of criticism about it. But this even ties with what we're talking about. Yeah. But I remember he mentioned that he has a lot of face tattoos, and he was getting criticized about it. Yeah. And there's something that he said. He replied to it in the video. He was like, "These face tattoos, even though they may seem different or bad to you guys, this is what allows me to go into the streets and preach to people about the word of God because now they're more accepting of me because I look like one of them. I don't look all clean and squeaky clean. I don't look intimidating to them. Instead, I look like one of them. and they allowed me to spread this message. So now that goes to show what you were talking about, how people from, I guess, from the secular side of the fence,
like they're starting to,
and they had a lot of popularity, and now they go on to the world God side of the fence. Now, not only do they bring in a lot of people because they have a lot of followers, they can reach their audience, not go back over the fence, but they can preach over the fence, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
So they're no longer sitting on the secular side of the fence, but they're preaching to the secular fence from the holy side of the fence.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
I think like there's probably more celebrities and more famous people. I can't really think of them at the moment, but yeah, those people really came to mind as like I guess that's like my answer. I guess I feel like God is like using a remnant of like people from that used to be on that side, and now they're turning to Christ, and now they're sharing like what He's done and sharing their testimony of what God has done. So yeah. Yeah, like more like how do I say it? It's like more of a revival going on, I guess, in that sense. Well, I still pray for that, but yeah.
Do you think that's God's intentions with celebrities that don't use His name for glory?
Yeah.
Like for them to eventually
come to Christ?
Eventually come to Christ and bring in other followers?
I think so. Like at some point. I think at some point, like I'm not gonna say every single celebrity is gonna accept Christ, but I think it's like one thing that I think Jim Carrey said this. He was like, I wish people had this type of success that I had and realized that's not enough. Because he was referring to, finding peace in Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of sticks out to me.
Jim Carrey? I was thinking of Jimmy Fallon. Jim Carrey?
I think he's an actor, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But yeah.
You know what he's acted in? My bad.
Nah.
But you know what he's acted in?
Nah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I just remember that maybe he's like a famous actor.
Oh yeah, go on. My bad. You said that the success isn't enough.
Yeah, like the success isn't enough. I remember like when he said that really stuck out to me. Like I think that maybe like what God has planned for them. Maybe that could be a reason. I don't know. Obviously I'm not God in this case, so I don't know all the answers, but I think that could be a factor into it. Like they get to taste that. How do I say? They get to taste everything that the world offers, and they realize they're not satisfied. So yeah, that's just what I think in that sense. Like God will allow them to taste that, and because they're like depending on it, and they're focused more on that than God.
Mm-hmm.
So like they get to see how it is without God, and then now God willing, they get to get a preview of it with God, and it's like, oh, this is so different.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I think though in that regards.
Right. Then I have a question for you, because I feel like there is, but is there a verse related to too much? I would say too much success in this case, because I know you memorize verses like an action encyclopedia.
Oh man,
I don't want to disappoint you, but like I honestly, I feel like there is a verse. I just can't fully think of one at the moment. I think there is one.
The only one I can kind of think of is the one where it's bam. I just forgot it. I literally as I was talking, I had it, and then I just forgot it. Hold on. It's something about the love of the. That's the next topic, man.
Oh,
okay.
Wait, finish that sentence. I think
the love of the world. Something. That's all. No. That's all I remember. Because I literally had the verse in my head, and as I was talking, it's gone.
Wow.
It's gone. But I think I might know the verse now because, as you mentioned, it was like do not love the world or something, or the things in the world.
Do not love the things of the world. Yeah, something along that lines. And then what comes next?
I think it was like, wow. Oh, I got my Bible. Oh wow. Okay. Thank God. But it pretty much said like for the things of this world is not of God, I'm pretty sure. I'm just hold back, guys. I'm just trying to clarify this whole verse.
Oh, and there's another verse. I don't remember where this is from either. But it's something about fearing man. Fearing man. I think Jesus said this. I said it. I don't know exactly what he said though.
Oh, I had to go deeper into that one though. But for the First John one, it's First John 2 verse I guess 15 to 17.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna read everything, but I'm gonna clarify. I'm just gonna summarize it though. So yeah, it says, "Do not love the world or things of the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world." And then verse 17, "And the world is passing away, like, and the lust of it, but he who does the will of God abides forever." So. Yeah, I guess I don't know if you want to continue with your thought based on those verses. But
My thoughts are gone, man. They're gone. That's a great verse. Like I like that it's mentioned. And the world is passing away. Like it's actively dying. The same way we're active. Go on. My bad.
Nah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but
with the genie aspect, though, one thing since we're on this biblical topic, obviously, one thing I want to mention though, with the purpose of prayer, because obviously we're going on the Bible side of it first, and then we're going in a general sense. We're going to generalize it even more.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we heard of that prayer that Jesus gave, like Matthew 6, like your kingdom come, your will be done on earth. So like those four verses, man, Matthew 6 verse 9 to 13, like I feel like in my opinion this kind of answers the question, because the question I had on here is like, what does the Bible say about the purpose of prayer?
Mm-hmm.
And reading those four verses, it really shows the purpose is like just having a regular convo with God, and like, and in this case, since we're going about God, it's like, all right, Lord, like your will be done in my life. Because most of the time people are like just asking for stuff. Like, how do I say it? It's like people are making plans, but asking God to bless them instead of trusting in his plan. Like they're not really abiding in his plan. It's like they're making their own and asking God to just, confirm it or to bless it or pretty much approve of it, which is not exactly what God would want in this case. Like he wants us to submit unto him. Like he wants us to trust in him, regardless of like what. Well, you can make your point. I was just gonna say trust in him.
I was actually going to be the example of your point. I don't think I told you this, so it's going to be a shock to you. I don't really care. I don't know who's going to be watching this, so I'm not going to really be like. I'm going to just be open. So me and my girlfriend broke up like 3 months ago.
I think I had like a suspicion though, like
yeah. So I never told you. I never told you though. Me and her broke up 3 months ago, and like the first month, I was doing amazing in my spiritual walk, like getting closer and closer and closer to God, because that's all who I had like left, like really intimately wise, you know.
Yeah.
Then like the second month came, I'm like, dang, I'm kind of lonely. And the third month came, I'm like, oh, I'm a little bit more lonely. So like in between the month 2 and month 3, I was not. I'm not gonna say I wasn't holding it out. You know, I wasn't doing all that. I stayed to myself. My clothes were on the entire time.
Yes, sir.
My clothes were. But wait. I'm just. No. Let me finish. So, but I was trying to flirt with multiple girls.
Okay.
Most of all the talking stages didn't turn out to be anything.
Okay.
And each time, like I like from in between month 2 and 3, I just felt horrible. Like, cause like I knew I shouldn't be doing this. I knew I shouldn't be talking to these girls. I knew I shouldn't even be approaching these girls with this intention, with this wrong intention. Because I had no intention. I had no intention approaching any of these girls for a long-term relationship at all. So, but it's a good thing nothing turned out. It's a good thing nothing turned out.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
But and it would be hard for me to pray. It would be hard for me to pray about it. Yeah. But now, like for the past 2 weeks, I'm gonna be honest. For the past 2 weeks, getting back into it, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling more in control. I'm not. Is everything okay? You're just staring at me. No, it's like my desires, they're being kept under control. They're being great. I'm relying on the Lord, not myself, not my own emotions, not my own feelings.
Yeah.
And I realized like I'm being a lot more personal in my prayers, because like God, for the past 2 months, God has seen me act like a complete fool.
Yeah.
So it's like now in my prayers, I can surrender my foolishness. Because a lot of times I feel like in prayer, not only do people ask for stuff, they neglect why they're asking for it. You know, like if I want $1 million. Of course I want $1 million. I want money. Now, when I pray to God and be like, God, I want to be successful so I can have money. They're not saying why to God. They're not saying to God why they want it. Obviously, God knows already. He knows our hearts, whether they be deceitful or they be full of His desires.
Yeah.
He knows our hearts. But there's multiple times in prayer we don't open up as to why we want something. And for the past couple of weeks, I've been praying to God and I've been opening up as to why I was acting like a fool the past 2 months. And that's because I've only had two relationships. And the first relationship was from junior year to senior year of high school. A little bit of college in that first relationship. We broke up in the beginning, towards the middle of the first semester of college. Then 2 weeks later, completely coincidental, I was not looking for a relationship. 2 weeks later, I got with my second girlfriend. And we dated for a good year and a half. So it's been a good almost 4 years since I've ever been completely single.
Yeah.
And it was just difficult for me to transition to that because it's the first 2 weeks, the first month, I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm chilling because I've been without a girlfriend for a good few weeks. I'm cool with that. But then once the first month went by, I was like, okay, now I'm starting to feel empty because there's nobody next to me for real. So after the first month, I started to feel empty because it's I'm not used to this. So I tried to fill that emptiness with girls I found attractive, and I kept on approaching them, and nothing came from it. I wouldn't get rejected. I wouldn't get rejected, but it wasn't fulfilling at all. It really was not. And once I got out of that weird mindset, I told God hey God, I'm really this is why I'm doing this. And the reason I said why I'm doing it is because myself didn't know. I myself didn't know why I was doing it until I actually prayed about it. Until I prayed God, I'm acting like a complete idiot. Yeah. I'm a complete idiot. And I think this is why. And then as I was praying, it felt like God was speaking inside of me, was telling me, or was having the words flow out of me as I was praying, why I'm doing this, why it's futile, why it's not worth it, and it allowed me to be more open with God. So what I'm trying to get at with the prayer part is when Jesus talked about my Father who art in heaven, He's giving a guideline. He's not actually saying pray like this every single day. He's not praying like this. Jesus is telling us to be open with God. Have a personal relationship with God, a personal, deep relationship. You're talking to your homeboys or homegirls if you're a girl, or whatever you are.
Yeah.
And let me slow down because I'm talking too fast. But what Jesus is trying to say is be honest. And when He's saying be honest, go deep into why you're doing the things you're doing. Go deep into what you're feeling. Because when Jesus was about to die, He literally told God, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
He knew it was God's plan. Jesus loved God more than any of us because Jesus is God. Jesus is love. Jesus had no sin. So He literally loved God and any single person on this planet. And He told God, what's about to happen, I don't want to do this. And He was being so honest. So we got to reciprocate that honesty with God. Because one, He already knows. And two, He's waiting on us to be honest. He's waiting on us to really share with things. It's like when you lie to your mom or dad and they just want you to tell the truth. They're not even forcing you to tell the truth. They just want you to. So it's really all up to you to just take that next step to be honest, because God already knows. And He's not going to pry it out of you. But soon you're going to feel the need to. And when you do feel that need to, it's going to feel great. Because you're going to realize things you've been hiding for months, for years, for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Because I was about to mention a Bible verse related to people asking, the reasons why you were asking to the reasons you were asking to like go deeper with the girls and stuff, like to try to interact with girls.
Oh, we're done with the girls. I'm done with that story. I'm done with that story. Maybe another time, but not right now.
I get it.
But no, the point I was getting to was
being honest.
Being honest and
okay.
Being honest. Like,
Yeah,
being honest. Brutally honest. Like I'm talking about like if okay, an example I had this morning. I'm not gonna lie, I was lusting after this one girl that I went to school with. And instead of like dwelling on the thought, I was like, you know what? Let me pray for this lady, as well as the other ladies I've lusted over. So I took like a while, like I was like, God, you know what I'm thinking. Help! I'm gonna do the opposite of what I'm thinking, and I'm gonna pray for them. And just being that brutally honest, because God already knows. There's no hiding from God. God already knows. Man. If I'm gonna be ashamed, let me own up to my shame. So I was like, God, you know what I'm thinking, but I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna pray for these girls because these girls aren't for me. So yeah, just being honest. Yeah. So you can go into your verse.
Okay. Just adding on a little bit to what you mentioned, this Bible verse kind of stuck out to me in regards to this topic. So this is James 4 verse 3. So he says you ask and do not receive because, and this is the New King James Version, so it says because you ask amiss, but pretty much like because you ask with the wrong intention, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And it says that you may spend it on your pleasures. Like, you were asking because to spend it on your pleasures. So like, I think in that regards, yeah, I guess like being honest with God, like why, as you said, like with the $1 million thing, like asking for it, but then really dive into like why. Of course, like as you said, God already knows, but it's just that nice feeling that like obviously you're not hiding anything from him, so you're just being honest. Mm-hmm. So I think in that regards, this kind of is gonna go into the next topic that I have in regards to this. With the asking and stuff, like unanswered prayers, and I think this is a very important reason. Though this is one of them. I know there's probably more reasons, but I think in regards with God, I think it's like I think these are like the three responses to like those yes or no type questions. It's like yes, no, or wait with God, and like obviously all three of them in God's eyes always have a reason behind it. Like even if he gives it to you, they have a reason. It has a reason. Well, he has a reason, I mean, of giving it to you. So I think in that regards, as far as asking with the wrong intention, as James 4 verse 3 says, that's very important in this case because like a lot of people, I'm gonna relate this to the next question. So a lot of people, they have this notion, right? Because John 14 verse 14, Jesus says, whatever you ask in my name, I'll do it. So people have like, they look at that verse with no context and like, this is a big misconception. Like, because now people are like, okay, if I ask Christ just for something in his name, he'll do it. Mm. But going deeper into that verse, I'm not going to go deep, but just from what I've gotten with Jesus and the disciples, like obviously speaking with them, he's speaking with them about it, but it's more just trusting in him, like trusting in his will. Like you're doing this in his will and his authority, not like we're doing it for our own selfish reason. Mm-hmm. So that's what's really important in the verse. And as I said, like not explaining that verse and not explaining verses similar to that can lead to like people believing that misconception. And this is kind of goes into my next question.
Wait, hold on. Wait, I want to talk about this one.
Okay.
Because I remember it was a long time ago. Where I did hear the explanation of that verse, but I completely forgot about it. So you bringing it up, like when Jesus says, "Whatever you ask, do it in my name."
Yeah.
It's Jesus is saying, like, because we obviously know Jesus' character. Like, let's say I'm going to use an example out of you. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna use my name. I'm gonna use my name. It's like you. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm going back and forth too much. So there's this TikTok I saw, and it was this guy. He went on a date with this girl. Okay. It's a skit. Okay. But he went on a date with this one girl. She asked, "Did you take all the girls here, or is it just me?" The guy was like, the guy was like, "No, you're special. You're the first girl I've taken here." And she's like, "Are you sure?" And then the guy says, "Word to bro." Have you seen that one?
Word to bro.
He says word to bro. He says word to bro, and now the whole thing cuts to every girl saying, "Are you sure?" And there's a new girl in every cut, and everything he's saying word to bro, word to bro, word to bro. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. But the thing is, I wouldn't want you lying, or like when people say on my mother, on my mom, on my dad, homie, or whoever it is. They're trying to be honest. Well, for the most part, they're trying to like prove that they're not lying. So like when we use someone's name in vain, I would say we try to make it for a good thing. A lot of people do lie with it, but in this case, it's kind of similar to what Jesus is saying. If you're gonna ask for something in my name, make sure something I would approve of, because you're using my name. I'm not like it's not. You wouldn't ask Jesus. You wouldn't pray like, "God, let me rob this bank in your name." Like what? And God wouldn't want that. He wants something in His name to be pure. He doesn't want an unpure thing to be associated with His name. It's like you can't like what Jesus said. It's a parable. You can't mix the new skins with the old skins. The new cloth with the new cloth with the old cloth. It will stretch out the new cloth and make it unclean. And you can never make Jesus unclean, but just from the other people seeing how you, I guess, how would I say it? Put dirt on Jesus' name. I was trying to think of a fancy word. I can't think of a fancy word. We put dirt on Jesus' name. It's a double on top. No, I don't know what I'm thinking of all these fancy things. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But I'm just saying when like what you said, I'm just reiterating it because you already mentioned it first.
Yeah.
When Jesus says you can ask for this stuff in my name, He's saying make sure that it's pure, make sure something that resonates or signifies or symbolizes who I am and what I want to do for my people.
And like, yeah, I think this question really goes related to as well, because this one hits a lot when you think about it. How does the misconception that obviously the God is a genie thing in general.
Mm-hmm.
How does this misconception impact a person's faith when prayers go unanswered?
You want me to go first?
I want to go first.
Okay.
Because I've asked you multiple questions. This is the first time you've asked me a question. I don't think it's the first time, but I want to answer first. Okay. Give me some time to think. I don't have an answer, but I want to go first. You went first, and I went last, so now it's my turn to be the first because yes. Okay, so let me think. How does you said the question again?
Yeah, I got it. It's how does this misconception that God is a genie, how does it impact a person's faith when prayers go unanswered?
I'm gonna use myself as an example because I think broad examples don't really help anybody. So a prayer. When I was like younger in the faith, I'm still not that. How long have I been in the faith? I think
what 4? No,
5
4
years.
to 5 years.
Yeah, I'm acting like I've been in the faith for like 2 months. The way I've been acting, but I've been a true believer for 5 years, and I remember like my first or second year after being a true believer. I think it was my second year. I was in high school, and I wasn't depressed, but I get these huge mood swings. I get these huge moods. Not anymore. I get them sometimes. I used to get them a lot in high school, and there was this one mood swing I had because I was praying. I was praying to God, and I was watching this movie. I don't remember what movie, but a girl got kidnapped, and it was based off a true story. And I was like, "Dang God, why would you let that happen? Why does all this evil in the world happen?" And a lot of people have these questions.
Definitely.
And there's no definitive answer as to why there's so much evil in this world. You can say
like free will.
You can't say free will. Adam and Eve ate the apple. God puts it in this world. But there's times God has saved people from sin. There's times God has saved people from these like great disasters. Like an example is like Jonah. I was reading Jonah, I think 2 days ago. the book of Jonah. Jonah was thrown into the water. That's a I love that book, but we're gonna.
Yeah.
But
That's
Jonah was
really
thrown into the water, and I think his actions saved the crew. And Jonah was surely to die. Like in that book or that chapter, the first chapter, Jonah was surely to die. He was not going. He didn't think he was going to survive. Nor did the fishermen think he was going to survive. The fishermen prayed to God. They said, "This man's blood is not on our hands." They thought he was surely going to die. Jonah thought he was surely going to die, but God brung a whale, swallowed him up, and saved him. So there's times God has saved people, and when I was thinking like back then, like why don't you just save everybody? Why do you allow this to happen? And I still don't have an answer for it. But unanswered prayers like that, um, related to that or maybe unrelated to what I was praying about, it leaves you really questioning who God is, his character, and why am I in this? Because there was so many times, like during that moment, I was thinking like, why am I a believer when God can't save these people that can't save themselves, you know? So I was horribly angry. I was sad. I was depressed. I'm not gonna say depressed. Depressed is like a really strong word. We use that word way too loosely. Depression is something way more severe, way serious.
For sure.
But I was angry. I was not lashing out on people, but I felt horrible. I felt lonely. Like I'm believing in this, and yet he can't save others. He can't save all. He can't save all the people that don't deserve these type of things. So yeah. So like to answer your question, for unbelievers, when they have these unanswered prayers, it makes them think like, what is the point of you being divine and you can't interfere with everything? So that's my answer.
Okay.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. This question stuck out to me. Honestly, with these questions, I think this one stuck out to me the most, I'm gonna be honest, because I just feel like personally, um, that's why I think like something like this with God being a genie, at least the misconception of it, I think it needs to be taught more because because I think a lot of times that's the thing I have wrong with the prosperity gospel because it's like mentioning like okay like God can do this, he can do that for you and stuff. But then it's like what if he doesn't? Or when he doesn't or something like that? What happens, you know? And I think not telling people that I know that sounds it's like a hard truth, I feel like. But it's like very important to mention, like, okay, God may not always give you what you want, you know? And I think there's a lot of factors that go into this one misconception. It's like just what were you taught as far as like whether it be from parents or whether it be in church or whether it be like family members. Like when you were little, you probably heard like, okay, like, all right, God will give me whatever I want if I ask him or something like that. But then you ask him for something and it doesn't come. Or it doesn't come at the time you expect it, or it doesn't come at all. Now you're like having all these doubts about him. Like, okay, God, like are you even real at this point? You know, so I think with this misconception, I feel like it has a huge impact. Like it has a huge like if people don't learn about it enough, that's why I think like parents and churches should dive deeper into this topic more because this is something that a lot of people believe. Like they may not say the word genie, but they have like this concept that God will give them whatever they want if they ask him. And that's like a horrible concept, an unbiblical concept. And I think if it's not properly taught, people are gonna God forbid, but I think it's gonna happen if they don't get taught their faith slowly but surely, like they start to go away from the faith because of that one particular thing. And that may not be the only reason, but sometimes that could be a big reason why. Because they had this belief about God, and it's like, oh man, this thing I was taught, like it's not true. Or at least that's what they would think because the misconception of God being a genie is in their heads. Or at least that's what they were taught, so I can't blame them for that.
And it comes with like the problem of like God works in their timing. Like, and the thing is, they're like you said, they don't outright say it. Like, no one's gonna say, "Well, I think God's a genie." No one's gonna say, "Oh, God should work on my timing." But it's like a hidden belief. That's why you gotta be honest with your prayers, because it's a hidden belief. You think in yourself, like, God, I've prayed to you this. You know I want this. You know I want that. Why is it not here yet, or why is it not looking like it's coming in yet? And that's when you gotta like question, like, who am I? Who am I? Like just in like not to belittle yourself, not to be like not to make yourself small, but like, who am I? What am I? What do I want from this? Why do I want it this quickly? Is it unbelief? Is it doubt? Is it unfaithfulness that's rooting in me to cause me to ask these questions? Or is it because I'm really like curious? There's nothing wrong with being curious, but when your curiosity stems from unbelief and doubt and unfaithfulness, that's when it takes a big shift to like who God is and to what you, and it turns into what you want and who you are. Now you're making yourself above God. And that's why you have to be honest in your prayers, so you know, like, why am I doing this? Why do I want this? And it's not me who's doing this, it's God that's doing it. So I have to wait on his timing. A lot of times we just focus on ourselves. We don't work on the
Cooperate.
we don't cooperate, yeah.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
It's like the book of Job, when Job was like, why is this happening to me? Then God didn't answer the question outright. Instead, God showed him the minuscule things of the earth. And God basically told Job, I'm in charge of all of this. Yet you can't comprehend even one of these things. Yeah. So it's like there's so many things that God is like shifting, turning, doing tables that you gotta wait for. There's other things that God is shifting, turning, that's closing the door away because you don't know what's behind that door.
Yeah. I think one factor that can have an impact on this misconception is like I think the upbringing and the childhood aspect could be important too, because like if you grew up in like it doesn't even have to be a rich family, but like if you grew up where your parents gave you everything you wanted, and all of a sudden like you asked God for something and he said no, it's like one of the first times you didn't get what you want, even if it's like immediate. Now it's everything kind of turns off. It's like, whoa, what just happened, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think that has a factor into it. Like it can make you feel entitled. It can make you feel like pretty cocky in the sense like, okay, like I get what I want, and you become spoiled. That's like the
There's nothing worse than a spoiled kid. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
No, I get it. Yeah,
being a spoiled kid, like, ooh, spoiled kids, man. I pray for them, but like, wow, yeah, spoiled kid is insane. When you have to deal with one, it's like wild, and that's kind of like my response. If people are asking like, why didn't God give me this? Not just with James, because like asking with wrong intention, but it's also like I guess it's also in the sense of just like if I give you what you want, like by time you'll get spoiled. And the analogy with the parents and I think that's a great analogy to put in this whole um misconception is that even as a parent, you wouldn't give your kid everything they wanted. Cause like as we said, like ultimately they'll get spoiled. And throughout time, like now it's like even when you don't want to give them something or they shouldn't have it, you ultimately just give in because it's like you already did a lot of damage. And God doesn't want that with us. Like God doesn't want to get to a point where it's like, and of course, like God can fix anyone. Like that's not like my thing. But it's more of just like God doesn't want us to be spoiled in a sense. Like spoiled, even like just mentally or spiritually, emotionally spoiled. Like as you said, too much of a good thing can become bad. Like too much confidence and too much like confidence is a good thing, but obviously too much confidence and all that start becoming prideful and arrogant. So like I think in a sense with that, the unanswered prayers, even if we can't fully understand it sometimes, they definitely like have like a reasoning behind it that we sometimes we may never even know about probably until heaven. So yeah, that's something I want to add on though.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, so for the next question, this one's another good one in my opinion. What's the difference between trusting in God and expecting God to meet your specific expectations? Like as far as like as what we said, like trusting in his plan. What's the difference between trusting in his plan and like doing your plans and asking him to bless it, pretty much? Just to simplify that question.
That sounds like two different questions, though.
Nah, cause like
Wait, hold on. Say it one more time. One more time.
yeah,
I may have blinked out a little bit.
that's all good. So it's what's the difference between trusting in God and expecting him to meet your specific expectation?
Mm.
Because like your specific expect, I don't want to fully. It sounds like I'm about to answer the question, but meeting your specific expectation may not be what he wants or what he expects.
Want me to go first?
If you want. I don't know if you got an answer though.
No, I do. I got it.
Okay.
I think the difference is just okay, man. I'm gonna speak in okay. I'm gonna speak in Instagram reels or something. But there was this Instagram post I saw. I think a lot of people saw this post. It's like a really common post. It's like girls teddy bear rips. Oh, I want this teddy bear, God. I want this one. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I think that
You want this one. So she's expecting a new teddy bear, similar or this like the same or one similar to that old teddy bear. I want this one, God. And then behind God's back is a teddy bear that looks the same, but much bigger, much bigger. So I think that's the difference. Just that our expectations, like they make. So a lot of times we put a lot of strict. Okay, there's two things. A lot of times we put strict expectations. Like God, I want a girl that has long hair. She needs to have dress. She has a nice style. She needs to be perfect. She needs to be just like me. That's like making a robot. That's like making a robot. That's like making a video game character. That's very unrealistic. Now there's another time where we set expectations like God, I want this because I like this. But God is like saying, okay, I want to give you something bigger than this because you're gonna enjoy it way more than the narrow mindset you had. So a lot of people they have a laser focused expectation, or other people have a narrow expectation. But God's expectations are way bigger. They're much more broader, and it leads to bigger things. So the difference is that God wants something, is going to give us something that we need and will love. Right now, we focus on what we want and love, rather than what we need.
Yeah.
And sometimes we think God can only give us what we need when in the only ways we can imagine. But God's imagination is way beyond ours.
Way beyond ours, for sure. That's a good answer.
What's your answer? Unless it's the same.
No, it's similar, but I want to add on to something because I think we mentioned this in the Bible studies, like when we did it, us too. But I feel like with this question, it's like I bring up a story. It's a popular biblical story, but with the three Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, in the fiery furnace.
Yeah.
One thing that doesn't get mentioned enough, I feel like, before that incident even occurred, like, well, obviously, like, so Nebuchadnezzar builds the statue. Well, the guys build the statue. They didn't worship. The three Hebrew boys didn't worship the statue. Everyone else did. Nebuchadnezzar kind of gives them a warning. He's like, if I'm going to give you another chance, I'm summarizing. I'm going to give you another chance, but if you don't worship this statue, like this statue of me, I'm going to put you guys in the fiery furnace and obviously burning to death. One of the more cruel ways to die. Like it's on the internet. Like I think like scientists and professionals even mention it. It's one of the more cruel ways to die. So I'm just mentioning that for a reason. Because in this story, they said something that really interests me. They said that, okay, if you put us in that furnace, God will deliver us. Okay, that sounds good. Like, that sounds like normal. But this is where it kind of this is what shocked me though. They said even if he doesn't, we're still not worshiping the statue. And it was like, wait, why? Like, why did they mention even if he doesn't? Why did they put that thought in their mind? Like, why did they even speak that part out? And then this is where I think why I mentioned to you with the analogy. I feel like with this question, trusting in God is like trusting in, I'm gonna put it with sports too. Trusting in God is like trusting in Him to have the ball in the final seconds, even if you don't win the game. Because it's like I believe He'll make the right decision. That doesn't always mean we'll that doesn't always mean we'll win the game. Like I can make the perfect, like I'll bring basketball for example. I could have the ball in my hands in the fourth quarter, down one. I make the right pass to a wide open shooter, the best shooter on the team, one of the best shooters ever. He misses the open three. So yeah, we didn't win the game. Yeah, it sucked. It was unfortunate. Like, of course we wanted to win. But we can't sit here and say, oh, just because he missed the shot, it was a bad shot selection. It was a bad decision. No, but like in God's case, it's like I made the right play. I did what the coach drew up for me.
Mhm.
It just didn't work our way. Like we missed the shot. And of course, like God is complete control of everything. But one thing, like the thing I want to mention with that is just this is trusting in him. Like he'll make the right play. He'll make the right decision. Like he'll lead us to where he thinks is best. And expecting him to meet your specific expectation, it's like you're trusting in him in a sense, but it's more like you're putting a to-do list on his hand. Like, okay, you got to make it like this. You got to do it like this. You got to do it at this time because any other time it's not good. I know people may not say that, but that's like how they're feeling or what they're thinking about in their hearts. And trusting in God, it's like, all right, bro, like do it how you want to do it, man. Like, I'm not gonna tell you how to, like, for example, like with painting, like let's say like you want to paint a picture of someone and there's an artist, like a pro, like a professional artist, and you start telling him or her, oh, okay, I want you to do it exactly like this. I want you to paint this in this version, and I want you to do it like the way you do it. I don't think it's gonna be that good. Let me do it. Let me tell you to do it my way.
Mhm.
But it's like, bro, this is a professional artist. This is one of the best artists ever. Like he or she, like they have so much experience with painting people that are harder looking, are harder to even draw or even to paint than you. So it's like, why are you putting all these commands on them? Like, it's like it comes to a point, it's like, yo, just let them paint. And obviously the magic will do itself. Well, in this case, like the artist, like they'll know what to do in the time. So it's like it's pretty much like letting God have the paintbrush in this analogy. I think trusting God is like letting him have the paintbrush and do what he does. Instead of like trying to nudge in and tell him like, you should put the paintbrush in this direction and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much my answer.
I have a question though. I have a question.
So like in the Shadrach, Abednego, and then what's the last?
Shadrach. Yeah, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego.
Meshach and Abednego. So I have a question. So
Oh yeah, I should have finished that story.
no, you don't.
I don't think our listeners may fully know that story.
Read the book of Daniel.
Daniel 3, Daniel 3.
Yes.
So wait, I have a question. So I forgot the other two names, but Daniel, what was Daniel's? Which one is Daniel?
Nah, Daniel wasn't in that story.
He wasn't in that story?
Nah, it was just his friends.
Oh, so Daniel wasn't in that story.
Nah.
So didn't they? Okay, so Daniel wasn't in. He wasn't in the fire.
Nah, he wasn't in there.
Oh, then I gotta read that story. Okay. All right, but didn't? So there were three Hebrew men.
Yeah.
Weren't their names changed to
Yeah.
So
that was their Babylonian name.
So then why does the Bible not include the story as the three? Okay, I obviously like the Bible.
Actually, that's a question though.
Yeah, I didn't even finish the question.
Nah, you.
But
Okay.
So
My
like
fault.
they have Hebrew names. They have Hebrew names. Why doesn't the Bible use their Hebrew names? Why does it use their Babylonian names?
Still a good question though.
Yeah.
I gotta go deeper into that, honestly. That's a good question because they mention their Hebrew names, I think, in chapter 1 of Daniel.
But that's not. So did Daniel get his name changed or no? I think he did get.
I think he did. I think he did. I think they changed it to Daniel. I forgot what his original name was. I gotta check it out though. But that's a good question. I gotta dive deeper into that though.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, I should have asked this question first because I was gonna say like, why do you think this might? I think this might be our last one. I think to call it. Why do you think some people view God like a genie or like a wish granter?
Oh, dang. I'm not going to speak for everybody. But for the people I know, they see him as a genie or a wish granter because they know God is greater. They know God is God. They know Jesus is God. They know they gotta surrender to him. Mm-hmm. They just don't want to. So they look at one aspect of him as the miracle worker, and they're like, that's all he is to me, because they don't want to acknowledge him as superior. Because and obviously, like, it sounds harsh, and I'm not trying to sound judgmental or sound harsh in any type of way. Mm-hmm. But I'm just directing it as it is, because a lot of times people won't say this exact thing. They'll reword it like, "Oh, I believe in God and everything," but then they're not going to get as to what they believe in God about or why they believe in God. Yeah. So I'm just directing it, and let me finish my answer, because I'm just babbling. But because they don't want to see God as anything more. They don't want to surrender to him, because they know that a lot of people know that you have to surrender to God. Like, I've seen a lot of Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, whatever. They're like, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna just say Muslim and Christians. So there's a lot of Muslims and Christians that believe in God, that they know there's a higher power, but they're like, "Oh, I'm not that religious," you know. I was watching this podcast, very, very funny podcast. I'm not gonna say the name, but it's a very, very funny podcast. I love this podcast. It's a comedy podcast. And one of the hosts, he says, "Oh, I believe in Jesus. I believe in Jesus." And then they were making a joke about fasting. And he says, "Oh, I'm not that religious. I don't think I fasted ever before." And he made a joke off of it. I laughed because it was a funny joke. Yeah. But there's multiple times but people have that mindset. I'm not that religious. They see God as greater, right? But they don't want to surrender to him. So they just box him up as just this genie, because they don't want to be too religious, or they want to give their full devotion to a God that to a God that deserves their full devotion. So I'm not saying that they don't know God is greater. They know God is greater, but they just put him as somebody that can do the hard work and just bless me, because they don't want to do the hard work for God.
Yeah, I see your comment. I agree. To add my 2 cents into this, I also feel like I also feel like, in that sense, with the genie aspect, like, they got him in that view. Yeah, like, the lukewarm aspect kicks in, and like, they, as you said, they don't want to fully plunge in. They don't want to fully plunge into like just what God has for them. I think that's like the upsetting part, though, in my eyes, because we both experienced like God's goodness and the relationship aspect, like how it's benefited us. Mm-hmm. And it's like, for us, like, we want, and I'm just saying this right now to everybody. I'm not forcing this on you guys. Like, if you guys want to stay here and listen, or if you guys want to take a chance, like, do you? Of course, I would recommend it. But like, if you don't, I mean, at the same time, I respect it. What I wanted, like, I would want you to take that chance, but I respect it. Like, I respect it 1000%. I respect your decision.
I don't. I'm joking.
But like, I think, like, just hearing it from our point of view, it's like, we just want we want people to have that same feeling. I wouldn't say same feeling, but we want them to have that experience that God gave us to give to them. It may not always be the same story, because obviously everyone got different like stories and testimonies and things like that. But we want people to have that experience, like just sensing God, like feeling him, feeling his presence, I should say, and just knowing about his goodness. The genie part, I think one aspect too is like, I just think people are more oriented with like consuming things and like clout chasing and stuff like that. They're more concerned about that than like actually having a genuine, as pretty much as you said, but more concerned about obtaining stuff, obtaining worldly things, than really having a lasting relationship with God. And not just with God. I know obviously BMU, of course, obviously we're mentioning God, but I was doing this project with my partner at Montclair, and this is an assignment that the teacher gave us. It was consume less, gather more. And it was pretty much talking about like making like marketing ads and things like that to convince people to consume less and to go out more like with their friends. Because more people, I feel like, and there's probably studies that could back up what I'm about to say. More people are like ordering stuff online, or they're more focused on just getting things than really spending money on like experiences like cruise trips and hot air balloon rides and stuff like that. And I think it's like a similar thing with God is just taking the money aspect out of it. More people are focusing their time on that, on the worldly things, than with God. And obviously, as you said, like they know, like, okay, God can do everything. At least that's what I've been taught. So it's like, oh, God can do everything. So that means he could give me whatever I need or whatever I want. At least that's what people think. And they just, as you said, they box him into that genie or wish granter type thing. It reminded me of I know you probably definitely heard of this show, Fairly Odd Parents. My guy, Timmy Turner. I think people refer to God as like, obviously the two fairies, Cosmo and Wanda. They refer to God as them. Like, okay, I wish for this, and then boom, I wish for that, boom. And of course, he has the capability of giving those wishes. But like God is more focused on the relational aspect. And as you said, I just think people don't want that relational aspect enough, which is disappointing because from my experience, like it's definitely worth it. You know, one I guess to end this thing, one thing I was thinking about is like it's like having this one person like they just want to be your friend and you just kind of blow them to the side all the time. But like, they're cool. They're asking you for stuff. Like, well, hold on. Vice versa, vice versa. You're asking them, yeah. You're asking them for stuff. Like all the time. Like there's not even a legitimate conversation. It's just you asking them for stuff. And they it's like they'll give it to you at times, but it's like they don't want just that. They don't want to be known as just as someone who can provide. They want to be known as someone who cares, someone who actually like genuinely loves them, like just wants to be with them, want to be around them, want to be involved in their life. And of course, that guy is not forcing it on them, but he wants to have that friendship with that person, but that person's more oriented on just what that person can give rather than like who he is and how can he how can that person impact their life. And one example, even my own experience, it was I respect this guy. I don't know if he's gonna see this podcast at some point, but I respect this guy because freshman year, my mom used to give me I guess money to buy lunch at school. Like they would give us lunch, but they had like a lunch cart like with extra stuff to buy. So my mom would give me money, and I would usually like I would eat the lunch, but I would also buy something from the cart. So this was a constant thing for I think for like a good 4 month stretch. But the table that I was in, they I didn't really realize it at the time. But they were like always asking me to buy something for them. And in this case, I pretty much conceded. I was like, okay, I'll buy something for you guys, to be nice. But it came throughout time though. My friend brought up something. He was like, "Yo, they're taking advantage of you. Like they don't really like being around you. They just like that you have the money. They like that you have the money, and they just want food pretty much. They just want free food. Like they don't really like you." And at first, I didn't really. I kind of just brushed it off what he said, But then throughout time, like it all came together. Like it made sense because they wasn't really speaking to me anymore. They wasn't really associating with me anymore. So then I was like, wow, like what he said was like on point. And yeah, like that, even for me, that was frustrating. Like that was disappointing. That was upsetting. Now think about it from God's point of view, where millions of people have that same mentality as those couple friends had for me. That's like a crazy, excuse me, that's a crazy thing. That's a lot to really think about in one mind. And the fact that God still loves all of us. He loves all of us in spite of those things. You know, that for me, that's just hard for me to fully comprehend, but it's like insane, you know? So yeah. Um, I think it's pretty much it though. Honestly, I pray that this BMU, I pray that this misconception that people have that God is a genie. I pray that encourage you guys. I pray that it and I'm gonna go deeper into prayer, but I really hope that this helped you out. Hearing my side of it, like some of my experiences, some of Woody's experiences. I really do pray that this helped you out in any way, shape, or form. And I just really hope that you guys have a genuine, or at least if you don't have a genuine relationship with God, or like, you want to have a relationship with God, I would just say, as Woody said, man, be honest with him. Like, just let him know your concerns, let him know what's going on. Like, pray to him, like, speak to him as a friend. Like, just us two, like, being here, like, we're just naturally speaking to each other, So I think that's how you should approach it with God. Like, don't set these unrealistic standards, like, I gotta speak in a fully holy way. Like I can't use my regular speaking or I got to use all these fancy words to reach him. No, no. Like God wants to speak as you. He wants to speak with you as with a friend. Like he wants to just have a regular convo with you, man. So I don't sugarcoat things. Like don't get it too twisted in your head. I would just honestly say, continue to look for God, man. You'll find him. He's always there. He'll always be with you. He'll guide you, man. Like he loves you. Of course, like he's willing to give you things, but it's not about the stuff, man, because you can have all the stuff but no peace. As we said with as I feel with real success being like having that peace within yourself and obviously God giving that to you. So yeah, I just think that's very important to really dive into. So without further ado, I'm gonna pray us out and we're gonna get going because we obviously Woody and I got stuff to do as well. So yeah, we're gonna get into that. So Lord, I just want to say thank you for hooking us up, man. You got us through this podcast, episode 2. You being a genie. I asked that you give Woody and I $1 million each. Yeah, as people as people would mention, and oh man. But I mean, help us out in the faith in that regards. If that's your will, if that's your will for us to get that, all praise be unto you, man. But on a serious note, I really do pray that help us out to just continue to seek you, continue to look for you, continue to go deeper in the faith, help out everybody that's listening, everybody that watches this podcast in the future. I pray that not just for them, but for us as well, that we continue to remember like you always have a reason behind things. We may not always understand it. And help us to remember that you want a genuine bond with us. You want a genuine relationship with all of us. You don't want it to be like a robotic type thing. You don't want to be like a fairy or a genie or a wish granter. You want to actually be like a caring friend, a loving father, as you mentioned. So like I just pray that you help us out to have a genuine relationship because that's what trust is. Like trust is one of probably the most important thing in any relationship, honestly. And for us, I just pray that you help us out to continue to trust in you, help our listeners out to continue to trust in you and to continue to depend on you. I don't know what they're going through, honestly. I don't know. You know everything, God, so I can't control that, but you know everything. of course, I pray for healing. Of course, I pray for success in their case. Of course, I pray for all that stuff. That is good. I'm not saying you shouldn't pray those things. I'm not saying we shouldn't go to you about those things. I just pray that you help us not to get um clouded with that and disregard like the more important stuff, like being filled with your joy, being filled with your peace, learning to, submit, doing your will, because obviously you'll lead us in the right path, even when the road seems rocky. So I just pray, help us out in that regard. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you everyone for watching BMU. I pray that this episode encouraged you. I pray that it inspires you in your faith, obviously, as all the other episodes. And I just, like, comment, subscribe for more. We cooking with the word. Looking forward to it.